Now that is interesting. According to this, at the recent professional tour, these Abazane decks did quite well, and apparently the pros made use of a sleeper card known as Saiji Rhino. Well, there you go. Oh, hello. You know, I really hate when people complain about technology. Whenever I hear someone moaning and groaning about smartphones or how everyone's always got their nose stuck in a tablet, I want to show them this picture. Does this picture upset you? Are you angry at the idea of everybody reading newspapers? So what's the difference if you're reading a newspaper or reading that same information off of a tablet? In fact, it isn't even the same information, because what you're getting off of the internet is going to be more accurate and more up to date 9 times out of 10. So whenever one of my students asks, oh, is it okay if I download the textbook on my tablet? I always say, of course. I don't care how you read. I just care that you read. To shut out technology today is to shut out information. To shut out information is to prevent yourself from learning. Now let's talk magic. Do you want to learn? You need as much information as possible. Want the best information? Then you have to use technology. Here, come with me. But using the internet isn't as easy as it looks. Understanding where to go to get the right information on the internet, knowing what the right sites are for the information that you're looking for, especially for Magic the Gathering, well, this is kind of like the difference between trying to study and learn in a prestigious university's well-funded and properly stocked library, or just walking into some sad little public library at some crappy community college where they let anyone with a pulse teach. Hey, come along to my office. Come on. 5 Magic the Gathering life hacks that use the power of the internet to make your Magic the Gathering life easier. Now, before I start talking about some of the best online tools, I'd like to start by talking about forums. Come along into my office. Oh, watch out, that's a live wire. Come on, it's just... The main Magic the Gathering subreddit, Magic TCG, as well as the other subreddits such as REDH, RPopper, RSpikes, and several more, are the true forums for Magic the Gathering. The official Magic the Gathering forums are death incarnate, quite literally, as they have been abandoned by Wizards of the Coast in favor of the independent forums at our Magic TCG. So that means Reddit is the central hub of where information is shared, questions are answered, and ideas exchanged with your fellow Magic players. I am also a major fan of the MTG Salvation message boards, where every format has its own folder where deck lists are posted and maintained, be they established within the meta or just being brewed. On the MTG Salvation boards, I'm a big fan of the rulings folder, where you can post rulings questions and get a very quick response. Just now I talked about how important a library is for research and study, and in the past on this channel I've spoken about just how important a deck library is for your Magic the Gathering research and study and training. Having the top 8 decks in your particular format to play test against is vital, but why print and proxy up 8 or even 9 and 10 decks at a time when they're constantly changing? This creates a huge amount of space requirements and a lot of effort on your part. That's where MetaDeck comes in. It's one of the greatest Magic the Gathering life hacks that actually the fewest people seem to know about. MetaDeck is an amazing MTG life hack. It allows you to print up to 12 decks on a single deck, or in other words, print 12 cards on a single card. This is such an efficiency for creating a deck library in any format. You can program in the decks you want to print out, or just use the MetaDeck's own built-in top 8 databases boxes for Standard, Modern, and Legacy to ensure you always have up-to-date deck libraries. Once you have the decks that you want ready to print, you can print out the proxies already properly sized by MetaDeck, and you have 12 decks in one. Most of us have shoeboxes worth of Magic cards in our collection, a huge assortment which we don't always know what decks we can make from, whether it's for Standard or Modern or Legacy. You've got your binders, you've got your boxes, but what decks can you actually build and play? That's where MTG Shoebox comes in. Just enter in your collection and MTG Shoebox will analyze the lists of recent tournaments from within a time period that you specify. It will then match the cards in your collection to the decks those cards are a part of. This way you can see which decks or which parts of a deck you may already own. Yes, it is a bit tedious to enter your entire library, but the Deck Wizard tool helps you quickly add format staples. Once it's done, the work is worth it. Seeing which decks you already own the cards for, or most of the cards for, helps you decide what direction to go in terms of collecting. Now, Shoebox is still a young site. It's finding its footing, but it is growing fast, and best of all, it is free. Find out what top-tier decks are possibly sitting in your shoebox of Magic cards with MTG Shoebox. Please do not store cards in a shoebox. How often do you see a legendary creature that you want to build a commander deck around, but then struggle with what the other 99 cards should be? Are you really effectively using the tens of thousands of cards from throughout Magic's history at your disposal? Well, now you can find out just what some good recommendations are for that commander you want to build around with EDH Wreck. By typing in the legendary creature you want as your general, EDH Wreck recommends cards you may want to consider for that commander deck, based off analyzing a multitude of commander decks. Now, is this building a commander deck for you? Well, I suppose if you wanted to, it could. But really, what this is doing is showing you the cards other players are using in their decks of the same commander, as well as the percentages therein. More than anything, this is an amazing tool for getting ideas, discovering key cards and synergies. Best of all, like everything else we've shown here today, it is free. Don't forget to improve EDH Rec by entering your own commander decks to add to the equation. The fact that Wizards of the Coast has actually abandoned its official Magic the Gathering forums in lieu of places like Reddit should give you a bit of a hint as to how effective they are at creating online tools for Magic the Gathering. So my question to you is, are you still using Gatherer to search for cards? Why? MagicCards.info is superior in every way. MagicCards.info is the premier search site for Magic the Gathering. The layout is simple, clean, and fast. Advanced search features are far superior and easier to use. And every detail, right down to the legality of cards for all formats, is easily visible and available. The site is amazing, and absolutely you should be using it instead of Gatherer. There's a joke that you may have heard, and it goes something like this. The better you get at Magic the Gathering, the more you start playing blue. And while I don't want to open up that particular debate here, I do want to offer my own version, which I think is a little more true. The more experienced you get with Magic the Gathering, the more likely you are to consider one of your favorite formats to be Cube. Why? Because Cube is the apotheosis of Magic the Gathering, and yet building and maintaining a cube can be an enormous undertaking. That's why one of the best Magic the Gathering life hacks is the online site Cube Tutor. I've talked about Cube Tutor before, but it really is the best online life hack for people who use Cube. See key statistics from your cube or another. Search through the database to get ideas, and look at what others are building. Draw a sample hand from any cube, or even participate in a simulated draft or sealed event. Cube Tutor is the resource for starting your cube, evolving your cube, and maintaining your cube. And while Cube Tutor does now have a premium subscription with some premier tools for advanced and, let's be honest, hardcore cube players, the majority of the site is free to use, and definitely where anyone who is building a cube should go. But remember, all of these sites are there as a tool for you to use. They are not replacing the act of building decks. They are not replacing the act of your role in playing Magic, but they are resources which can improve your Magic skills and also the ease of your Magic life. I hope this video and these sites have been helpful to you. And this video was nominated and voted on by the patrons over at Patreon. They are the reason that I am here today making videos for you. So thank you.